Welcome to Sewers and Shurikens. I'm your host and Dungeon Master, Wyatt Norman. S&S is a radical 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons podcast. We join our reptilian heroes in a magically altered New York, full of peril, ninjas, and pizza.
Turtles, roll call.
Hey, I'm Cicada. I don't have a lot of experience with D&D, but what I lack in experience, I make up for in heart. I am playing Hieronymus Bosch, an alligator snapping turtle.
Hey, my name is Ralph. I'm your average, ordinary weirdo. I'm here playing Valentino the Sea Turtle, dude. Whoa!
Hey, my name is Cole. I'm playing a turtle bard named Matisse. My D&D experience usually results in me getting killed in Wyatt's campaigns, but we'll see how it goes.
I love that. Cicada, we'll start off with your backstory. So, to start, you've lived a pretty unstable childhood. You've been moved around a lot. You've been sold throughout the world. A lot of in and out of the illegal reptile trade, because you're less than savory species.
Oh yeah.
So you were wound up in a cage by Ian Williams. He's a reptile super nerd. He's spent most of his days on his computer doing some sort of research, writing his blog, or deeply enveloped in stacks of books and newspapers. Because he was a conspiracy nut, he didn't have much time for you, but you felt blessed enough just to be safe and have this wellspring of knowledge that you could press your beady eyes up against the tank and get a look into. With his vast collection of open books and newspaper fragments pinned to a board, you were able to gain an understanding of the modern world around you, while never leaving your cage. Your pursuit of knowledge was brought to a halt when Ian was detained after the police received an anonymous tip that he had his hand in the illegal reptile ring. With the city lacking environmental reserves, you and the other reptiles were donated to a well-known science facility called the New Age Research Center. A bulky man without words carries your tank from the unmarked van you were brought to the research center in. He brings you to an elevator, and without words, lets the doors close shut. The brightly lit laboratory at the top of the elevator opens without need. He brings you in, places your tank down on the table, and you see around you several tanks and a bunch of research equipment. And that's where we're going to end for your backstory. Ralph, your backstory: you've lived most of your childhood in the calming Great Barrier Reef in Australia. This was a simple life up until you and your friends got picked up by an endangered species watch list representative. They were preserving an effort to sustain the sea turtle population. Shortly after, the facility was shut down from lack of government funds, and you and your friends had to part ways. So because of this, you were sold to the highest bidding aquariums around the globe. You personally ended up in a New York aquarium, which was crammed, but it was alright because you felt superior to the other turtles around you because you were the only green sea turtle, and you had your tank's full respect. A couple of months later, you make your laps around the tank, as you usually do, as night falls, and the doors close to the public. A tall, thin-framed man with thick square glasses slinks out of the shadows, followed by a burly, expressionless man. He holds a tank and places it down before your large aquarium. The thin man slips into a skin-tight scuba suit. He climbs the lip of the tank, from where the staff usually access and feed you. What do you do as he dips his feet into the tank?
Right on, bro. Come in for a little swimmeroo.
So as you say that, he takes a net from the side of his waistband, and he dips into the water, goggles on, scuba mask. It seems a little excessive considering the depth of your tank isn't really that big, but he starts swimming, picking up a bunch of different turtles around you, but he seems fixated on you. So he's making his way around it, and he's releasing the other turtles because the species just doesn't match up to your rarity. So he picks you up. Do you let him bring you out of the tank?
I want to give him a little squirmy, you know what I mean? Like, just a little bit of pleasure for my own sense. Just see if he can catch me or not.
Okay, so why don't you roll a dex save?
Okay, here we go.
Squirmy check.
That's a 3 from my little squirmaroo.
Okay, so yeah, you're not used to being grabbed by people. So he grabs you in that location you can grab turtles in where like they can't really get out. Like the spot in their shell.
Come on, man, that's cheating.
So he grabs you and puts you in the tank, and he addresses the man as Bruce, the large man, and states, "Bring him to the lab. I have a plane to catch." After being loaded into the unmarked white van, you slosh around the tank until arriving at your destination. Bruce lugs you to an elevator, and it quietly hums as you brought to the top. He brings you into a lab full of unsettling-looking devices and sets you beside a row of tanks. You look over and see several reptiles around you. And that's going to be it for your backstory, and I'm going to go for yours, Cole.
I'm so ready.
Okay, so you're deep in Japan right now. You're patrolling a riverside. So you're longing for companionship because it's a pretty uninhabited river. The bustling market above is going unnoticed because it's a day in day out for you. But you call out to it and you're unanswered like you are usually. So you're gonna try your hand at more of the people down the river to see if you can find somebody that'll give you the time of day.
Okay.
So as you turn around, almost instantaneously, you are grabbed by the back. You feel a net fall around you.
Oh God.
As you look behind you, you see this small lady grab you, pull you up, and exclaims, "I finally caught you. You annoying call disrupts my business." And she brings you all the way up to the marketplace, up the steps, and it's super loud, but she puts you in a tank. And, you're happy for once. You have somebody here, you have a friend. But as you look over, you see a bunch of empty shells, turtle shells.
Oh, dear God.
So you're now beginning to realize why you were so alone in this river in the first place. And you see a massive bowl of soup, bubbling and calling your name.
What's in the soup, Wyatt?
Yeah, it smells like turtle.
Oh, no.
You can tell a good turtle soup. So, like, you're kind of waiting your fate in this little tank. It's pretty murky. It's pretty disgusting. And can you roll a perception for me?
Okay, I kind of forgot you needed dice to play D&D. 1 sec here. Okay, okay, that's a 5.
Okay. Right. I wasn't expecting
soup.
you to be so blind. So you don't see anything. You don't hear anything. But you feel this hand grasp around you. It's not the lady. She's busy tending to the soup, dropping in vegetables. So you try to turn your head, and you see that there's a skinny American man. He's wearing a large trench coat. So he basically grabs you very quickly, and he starts to run into the crowd. And you can hear the lady screaming and calling out, like, clearly pissed off. Like, she did not sell him this. So he's grabbed you, and he's pushing himself into the crowd as her voice gets quieter and quieter. He brings you into the crowd, goes for a couple minutes, and then he dips out of the marketplace. You're tankless. You're starting to get a little dry and hot from the lack of cold water here for you. And he brings you to what seems to be like a plane runway, and he comes up to a man wearing a aviator outfit. And he hands him a stack of cash as he brushes off the trench coat that he's wearing. And he has a sleek lab coat. So after taking the cash, aviator man, he climbs into the pilot seat and gets ready. You get put into a tank and put in the storage unit of the plane. And the thin man, he climbs inside with his lab coat and he waits for takeoff. So after what seems like a couple minutes, you guys take off. And hours go by. You're kind of left to your own devices. There's no food. It's kind of quiet, except for the hum of the plane. And after a couple hours, you enter like a busy and intolerably loud city. And you're not really used to this. You're used to being able to dip out into the water if the marketplace is getting too loud. You're pretty local. You don't do too much in your area. So the water in your tank begins to ripple as you're brought into a elevator. You have like a cloth over your tank, so you can't see much. You just keep feeling all these things and hearing these things around you. So I see he brings you to the elevator. You ride all the way up to a skyscraper. The top of the skyscraper, you get placed onto a long bench inside a room. It's full of lab equipment and tanks, you notice, as he takes off the cloth. And that's where we're going to end your backstory. So now you guys are all together. You can kind of look around. You're not in the same tanks, as one of you is saltwater, two of you are freshwater, and you have different temperatures. So it doesn't seem like they've taken much care to like have you guys like properly taken care of. It's mostly just you're in a tank, you're clearly in some sort of laboratory, and this man's like looking at you. And the man some of you know as Bruce, the big burly man, he's just got his eyes on you, arms crossed, waiting for instruction by the other man. And I'm gonna get you all to roll a perception check.
That's D20, right?
Yeah.
That's a 16 for Valentino.
Oh god, I rolled a 4.
Okay, yeah,
I rolled
so
a 6.
both of you guys with the low rolls, you might as well still have a cloth over your tank. Because you don't see, like,
Nice.
you're shitting in your water, like, it's murky, there's not much going on. But you know, as a superior sea turtle, Valentino is quick to realize that you guys are being set up for some sort of experiment. You see, like, foods being, like, rationed out on the side for you guys. So after a couple days go by, you're given food, you're taken care of. Your tank is not cleaned. Like, it seems like you're waiting for something. After Bruce has been there for a little bit, you see he's like motioning the other man to come in. And once he comes in, because you have such keen eyesight, you're able to see the name tag on his lab coat. The name tag reads Wilson Stoneworth. He's bringing a trolley full of silver metal canisters. They're labeled XGR, which is weird because it doesn't mean anything to you, but
I'm a fucking turtle.
right, you're a turtle, and he seems to be bringing them towards you guys. And as you notice this, you guys, you know, your murky water clears a bit, so everybody can kind of see this at this point. You see different tanks around you are full of different reptiles. They're kind of doing the same thing. There's no other turtles, surprisingly. So there's a couple different smaller reptiles and amphibians, and they're kind of waiting for the same thing to happen, just in their tanks. So can you guys roll a history check?
Big ol' 4. Wow.
I rolled a mighty number 3.
18, and I'm proficient in history.
Okay, so yeah. Cole, you and Ralph, you don't smell anything. Like, your nose is clogged. Yours, Ralph, by the salty water, and yours, Cole, is just, you know, the murkiness of your tank. You know, you're used to just shitting as much as you need to in the riverside.
Right. Of course.
It gets brought out, right? So
Yeah.
he twists open one of the canisters, and he exclaims, "Bruce, no longer are we held back by the confines of monitored science. Cicada, your turtle smells a horrible mix of ash, bleach, oranges, and some sort of sulfur. You recognize this smell because, you know, your master Ian, he would mess around with all sorts of chemicals as he was clearly deep in some sort of weird experiments. Luckily not involving you. You smell this, and he brings the canister over to each of you. And Bruce steps forward, and he grabs you guys and puts you in some sort of big metal tank. So it's like almost like a wash tub. And he puts all three of you in the wash tub. So you guys, this is the first time you guys are really meeting. There's no water in this wash tub, so you know you're kind of not in your element for sure. It's not high enough for you guys to escape, but it's enough space for you to move around a little bit. And he's just kind of watching over you guys, taking notes on his notepad. Wilson is, rather. So he's taking notes on his notepad, dropping things in, like food, seeing if you guys are going to fight over it. What do you guys do?
I'm definitely a little upset that I've been put in a tank with inferior turtles. So I'm just gonna hog as much of that food as I can. You know, gotta bulk up, gotta take the food for the superior turtle.
Okay, and these are like pineapple chunks and other pieces of fruit. Are you gonna stop him?
Yeah, bouncing around from tank to tank. I know that food doesn't always come readily, so I'm definitely lashing out and trying to get that for myself.
Okay. And you, Cole?
As soon as I see pineapple, I'm seeing red. I'm going for it.
Okay.
I'm ready.
That's pretty typical. Okay, so you guys all want to roll you're all contesting against each other. Contesting dexterity checks.
Okay, my average is like a 4, so let's see. Nat 20. That's my pineapple.
First nat 20 for the pineapple.
Pineapple 20.
It's a
10.
dirty 20 for me.
I got a 10.
Wait, so you guys both got a 20 and Cicada got a 10?
Yeah, but Cole had a nat.
Oh, true. Okay, so yeah. Cole, you don't even let the pineapple hit the waste bin. Like as soon as it drops out of the Wilson's hand, you grab it out of the air. So most of it like goes straight in your mouth, but because you're a small turtle, like not much of it can fit in your mouth. So a couple pieces fall out, and Ralph is quick to grab up all those scraps and eat it. You know, he's a little pissed off probably because you're not a sea turtle.
Obviously. I mean, come on, man. You ain't no sea turtle. You don't need that, bro.
So you guys are eating. He watches you, Cicada, with a little bit of uncertainty. Like he can tell you're a bit of a weak runt of the pack here,
Aww.
as you didn't get any food. So he doesn't give you any food. Like he almost expects this.
Yeah.
He, after cracking these containers, he brings one canister over. He pours this liquid, kind of thick, viscous, almost to the state of maple syrup, and it's dripping out of here, and it's like green, and it's hitting the light, light's hitting it, and it's changing from green to blue and back and forth.
Ooh.
So it seems to be some sort of chemical agent that he's constructed here. So it's slowly dripping through the canister onto you guys. So it's filling like the complete bottom of the bin you guys are in. You know, it burns your skin, but it doesn't feel like it's doing anything. Like it's just...
What is this, man? This isn't seawater.
Like, Cicada, I don't know if you're thinking this is food, but it's all over you guys. So as it begins to burn, I'm going to have you all make Constitution saves.
5.
11.
Oh, 20. But not that.
Okay, so yeah, I think for the most part, aside from Cole, you guys all feel the heat of the burning turned almost like a freezing cold. You kind of feel your skin, your reptile skin begin to wrinkle up, and you're retracting a bit into your shell, trying to gain some warmth back. But Cole, you almost feel the intensity of the heat become stronger.
I forgot
So
I'm
it's
allergic to pineapple.
It's definitely affecting you in a different way than everybody else.
Okay.
So after a while, he kind of waits around. He's clearly upset. Like he's waiting for something to happen here, but Wilson doesn't see anything happen. So he's writing furiously on his notepad. So he releases like a big sigh and I just can't get it right like the first time. I just need you to bring them to the pet store. Another failure. So that's what Wilson says to Bruce as he begins to pack up his notes and leave the room. So Bruce begins to put you guys back in these tanks, but this time you're in like one of your tanks. So they put you in Cole's tank, and you're all in the same tank. So you know you fucking hate the fact that it's freshwater and not saltwater, Ralph.
Absolutely disgusting.
Like it's not fun. And with the water on your skin, Cole, like it's not burning the same anymore. But
Okay.
you know the water is cold. Like they have not taken the time or care to really make sure the temperature is right for you guys. Bruce comes over, grabs the tank, and starts bringing you guys back down the elevator that you're familiar with. You know, after a couple seconds, the elevator dings, the doors open, and he brings you out to the front. He hands you to Wilson, who appears to already be waiting for him downstairs, and he grabs the tank. With that, you can see the van that one of you was taken in across the street. So Wilson begins to bring the tank over to the van. And about halfway across the street, I'm going to get you all to roll a perception check.
13.
Nat 20.
Wait, 16.
Okay, so you all are pretty perceptive. Like, you can tell something's about to go wrong. You can hear cars. But particularly you, Valentino, notice that there's a car coming before he even steps out onto the road. Like, this car shoots out of nowhere, but you saw it coming. Like, you're pretty alert right now because you're sure something's up.
I gotta try and warn him. Oh, watch out, bro! There's a big metal machine.
Right. So the rest of the turtles, they hear this, but all he hears is like this bubbling noise coming out of your mouth. So he's just like yeah, typical turtle, right? So he starts walking across the street, and this van. Now that it's closer, you can tell it's a van. It comes right in front of him, and I'm gonna get him to see if he can get out of the way. Yeah. So he rolled pretty poorly. So he goes to like dart out of the way, but because of this like sudden burst of a van right in front of him, he drops the aquarium, and the wind from the van rushing past him knocks his glasses off. So the glasses crack and hit the ground. The tank cracks and hits the ground. So you guys are shattered. You're covered in glass, a bit of blood, and water goo. So right in front of you, you see what appears to be a sewer grate. Your character, Cicada, you remember from when you were back and forth through the reptile trade so many times. You know that being brought to the pet store is probably where you're going to have to live your life. Like, if you wait this one out. So you probably see this as an opportunity for yourself. So what are you guys going to do here? He's grabbing his books that were dropped, like his notepads, like all this stuff. And he's like, trying to go and pick you up. And all the goo and everything is just dripping down the sewer grate.
I remember Ian Williams wearing glasses, and when he wasn't wearing them, I remember it was harder for him to find stuff. So the first thing I'm going to do is snatch those broken glasses. I want to put him at as much of a disadvantage as possible for not grabbing us. And I know the safest place to be is in Ian Williams' basement, but there's no basement, so I'll go underground. I'll go to the sewer grate.
Okay, so can I get you to do a sleight of hand check?
Absolutely. Oh, not 20.
Okay, so yeah, not only do you grab the glasses, somehow your flippers, like, they grab it and they fling it right onto your face. Like, they're very oversized. They're kind of drooping off your face. You're a tiny turtle. These are big human glasses. But, it's comical. So, I assume you all start heading towards the sewer grate then, with your thoughts of the fact that you need to get out of here. And he's doing that classic, like, Scooby-Doo, like Velma, like
the Velma glasses thing.
And he's like, like he's got glass in his hand because there's glass all around. Like, he's like, fucking turtles.
Yeah, I'd say Valentino just slides right through that little grate.
Okay. You want to roll in athletics? Because there's goo and there's a little bit of water, but it's not necessarily the wettest day. Well, it's night, but it's not the wettest pavement.
Yeah, that's a 14.
Okay, so yeah, you can slide. You've been around the ocean quite a bit. You know your way to maneuver around places, so you slip pretty easily into the sewer. And
you can my fair slides.
You can hear the of you dropping into the water. What do you guys do?
I'm not used to this concrete jungle, as I'm used to the wilderness. So I'm gonna try and just follow the other turtles. Follow Valentino, I guess.
Right. So, one sec. Okay, so he's kind of gained his bearings enough that he grabs actually a hold of your shell. Wilson does. So, before you try to, like, shake yourself into the sewers, I'm going to ask you to make a athletics save to see if you can break free of him.
It's been a good campaign, guys. 10.
Okay. Let's see what he gets. Okay, so he gets a nat 20.
Oh, well.
So you're
well, yeah.
So he's got, like, surprisingly for this, like, wiry, like, scientist, he's got, like, pretty beefy hands. He grips
pretty firm grip there.
So right now, as he grabs you, Cicada, you look over and you see that he's just being grabbed around the shell. He looks pretty fucked, but you can tell, like, this is going to give you enough time to get away. And you don't really know this turtle, so, like, do you help him? Do you leave him? You're kind of at this crossroads, and you can hear, the radical from below of Valentino already being down in the sewer.
I don't entirely trust this turtle, but I especially don't trust this man. I'm gonna bite his hand and see if that makes him drop.
Okay. Go ahead and roll. Just a straight attack. Straight 20, because you're just a turtle right now.
Oof, I rolled a 5.
Okay, yeah. So you thought that the glasses would actually enhance your vision, but because it's not your prescription, you actually just snap in the air. So I'm going to roll... Okay, that's just another 20, so I'm going to use a different dice. So you think like that might have like freaked him out or anything, but he's like, I've dealt with plenty of turtles. I've done my experiments, right? So it doesn't bother him. So he begins to hoist you into the air, Cole.
Okay.
So you are quite slippery, so I'm going to give you one more chance to see if you want to do anything.
I'm feeling moist. Let's do this.
Okay, so you're going to roll another save to get out of him?
18.
Okay, yeah, so he gets a 4. So you guys swap places. So you slip out of
Okay,
his
I'm
hands.
holding him.
Yeah, you're a big turtle, you're holding him, he's a little human. No, so
Okay.
you slip out of his hands, you're covered in glass and blood, like, you're pretty fucked up. So you slip into the sewer, and I assume Cicada falls pretty shortly after.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you all make it in the sewer, no problem. It's pretty decent size, like, spacing in between the grate, and you guys are pretty small. Except for Valentino, he's a bit bigger because he's a sea turtle, but, you know, he's also a lot thinner. So, like a sheet of paper, he just slid in there. So you guys all splash into the water here, and you see in front of you, and Valentino, you obviously experience this, but you guys see him being brought through the current of the sewer. So he's like ahead of you guys a bit, but you're quickly picked up by the sewer current. So it's probably too strong to fight, but you can attempt to. It seems to be bringing you like through these like pipe systems, like deeper into the sewer.
Follow the waves, my dude.
Can all of you roll a perception?
18?
12.
4.
Right. Those glasses aren't doing you a favor.
No, definitely not.
Oh no.
So yeah, with your 18,
Take 'em off.
Like, everybody else is just kind of like doesn't see much other than what I've already explained. But with the 18, you see about 10 feet in front of you what appears to be some sort of beast. You see like glowing eyes and the kind of scales that a fellow reptile would have. You don't notice this as your treks in the ocean haven't really brought you to any things like these before, but you know it's not a good thing, and you're heading straight for it, and it looks like very large in comparison to your turtle body.
All right. Well, I hit him with the fins up, my dude. You know, like raising up a hand, getting ready for the high five. But then I'm gonna try and do a little bit of a juke. You know what I mean? A little bit of a barrel roll out of the way.
Okay. Roll a dex save.
That's an 8.
Okay. So you do not do a very great barrel roll. Like, you've seen the other turtles do it, and you're always like, well, I don't even need to practice. Like, obviously I got it.
That's nice.
And because you didn't practice, you know, you don't have the barrel roll technique down. So as you go to barrel roll, he opens his mouth, and you're actually going straight for it. You guys are about to go into what now appears, now that he's opened his massive maw, to be an alligator.
Oh damn, dude, Dad's got some big chompers.
Hey everybody, Wyatt here. Hope you guys enjoyed episode 0, our backstory episode. I wanted to give a shout out to Ralph as he's taking care of our editing and technological hurdles. One last thing is that if you guys like the content, we have a subreddit called r/sewerclub, and you can hit us up at sewersensei on Twitter, or email us at sewersshurikens, that's no and, @gmail.com, as we'd love to hear from you. Thanks for listening.